Hey Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into the Eagles Report, and today, LeSean McCoy wants to return to Philadelphia. Could we go ahead and trade for Brandin Cooks? And Ronald Darby signs with a division rival. You still stuck at home? You still bored out of your mind? Thumbs up this video. We're doing as many Eagle reports as we can this week to keep you entertained, including a mock draft coming up in the next couple of days. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so the latest news and rumors coming out of Philadelphia has to do with LeSean McCoy wanting to come back to Philadelphia. Yes, LeSean McCoy, who we all remember as one of the best Eagle running backs in my lifetime. I'd argue Brian Westbrook a little bit better, but as good, Shady McCoy was as good as they come, and it looks like he wants to go ahead and come back to Philadelphia. So remember what happened. Shady McCoy was drafted by Philadelphia. He went to the playoffs with Nick Foles in Philadelphia, and then was traded by Chip Kelly, who I hate so much, in 2015. Traded him to Buffalo. Was that for Kiko Alonso? It was an awful trade overall. I remember sitting in one of my college classes, and I got the notification. I looked over at my roommate right now, Will. I'm sitting there, and I'm like freaking out, because he told me, he's like, Thomas, they just traded for LeSean McCoy. And Will, of course, was at LeSean McCoy's very first rookie game when he was a Philadelphia Eagle up there at the link, and he was, triggered, and I was triggered. We were both mad, and it was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe they just went ahead and traded away LeSean McCoy. But alas, we move on. He hasn't been that great in Buffalo. In a couple of decent seasons, and of course last year with the Chiefs, he had 101 carries for 465 yards and 4 touchdowns. But his final year in Philadelphia, 2014, 312 carries, 1,300 yards, and 5 touchdowns overall. So you're probably wondering, Thomas, where does this all come from in terms of LeSean McCoy wanting to come back to Philadelphia? Where's your source, right? I see this on all the different comments down below. I'll tell you when it's sourced, and I'll tell you when it's just speculation. It's sourced right now. So it comes from Twitter. So, John Clark from NBC Sports in Philadelphia posted this tweet right now that, of course, it looks like DeSean Jackson is trying to go ahead and lobby for Shady McCoy. So, Shady McCoy has a comment on his Twitter, and you'll see this on your screen right now. Philadelphia equals home, heart, heart. And then, of course, you see it's a reunion, homecoming, fire emoji. That is from DeSean Jackson's 1 of 1. That's DeSean Jackson. And then Shady says, it's that time, bro. So, there you go. That's what we're basing this all off of, the idea that Shady McCoy could go ahead and come back to Philadelphia. And also, if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles' current running back depth chart, it makes a lot of sense because you have Brandon Scott, and of course you have Miles Sanders, who is very Shady McCoy-like, at least in terms of what he looks like his rookie year. You could bring in LeSean McCoy, who is older now. He's like 32 years old, and maybe be a mentor and a third down back, a back out of the backfield. We know that Andy Reid liked him. Doug Peterson, of course, would probably like him as well. I think this would make a lot of sense for Philadelphia. A very cheap deal, probably a veteran minimum deal, but you at least get him in an Eagles uniform. The fans would love it. You pair him with DeSean Jackson. It'll feel like it's 2010 all over again. I think he can still contribute, right? I mean, if he had these numbers, what, 312 carries, if he had 101 carries, about 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, pair that with Miles Sanders, pair that with Boston Scott, that's a good three-headed monster from Philadelphia. He's not better than Jordan Howard. I'd like to have kept Jordan Howard, but this would be a good addition overall for Philadelphia in terms of a free agent signing that I think would sit well with DeSean Jackson, would sit well with a lot of his teammates, and the city of Philadelphia would be very much happy to go ahead and see LeSean McCoy back. What do you guys think? Would you want to re-sign Shady McCoy at a very cheap deal and have him be the third-string running back on this team? Thumbs up the video for yes. Let me know in the comments down below as well. Okay, moving on. Probably the reason you clicked on this video, it's for Brandin Cooks potentially becoming an Eagle. So, NBC's Peter King, who, of course, Money quarterback, we don't even know. I mean, Peter King is one of the best NFL columnists and writers. I've met him. He's great. He had his recent column just the other day talking about trade targets in terms of where Brandin Cooks could go. And Philadelphia is the number 1 option. Philadelphia could be the number 1 option to go ahead and trade for Brandin Cooks because Cooks wants to get out of LA. It's been very, very clear. He does not want to be an LA Ram. He was saying in a tweet saying, just free me already, let me go. And so Peter King says, all right, how about Philadelphia? Now, what would it take to go ahead and get Brandin Cooks? It'd probably take a second-round draft pick. It would probably take number 53 overall, which is a high asking price for a wide receiver who has been very, very good, but also has been injury-prone as well. So here's what the NBC article had to say about Brandin Cooks. This is from Peter King, quote, Cooks would be hard to ignore with his very appealing production. The Wild had 4 1,000-plus yard seasons in a row from 15 to 18 and has amassed 5,700 career yards, 34 touchdowns throughout his entire 6-year career. He's averaging 13 yards per catch, and every single season he's had at least 10.4 yards per reception, including his rookie year. But, as Peter King went on to say, and I'll emphasize right here, Brandin Cooks has not been healthy the past couple of seasons. Really, last year, multiple concussions over a short period of time. Remember the hit that Malcolm Jenkins put on him in a Patriot uniform and Super Bowl 52. That one knocked him out of the game. That was a concussion, and he had some more last year. So injury prone is kind of a big deal, and concussions, especially for wide receivers going across the middle, can be a big problem in terms of longevity in the National Football League. I would not give up a second to go ahead and get Brandin Cooks at all. I would not do it. I would give up a third, maybe a fourth, but I would not give up a second because I think you can use the second to go ahead and get Chase Claypool out of Notre Dame, maybe Denzel Mims out of Baylor. There's a lot of options at wide receiver. We've talked about them ad nauseum here on the channel. I mean, we've talked about them so much here on the channel. You guys are probably tired of it, but then again, you probably aren't because you know we need a wide receiver. So I would not go for Brandin Cooks, but I wanted to show you guys an option and what it would take to go ahead and get Brandin Cooks if the Eagles wanted to go ahead and grab him. Would you want Brandin Cooks? I'm very curious about this one. Let me know in the comment section down below. Would you do it for a second? Would you do it for a third, for a fourth? We had someone comment on my video a couple days ago saying, Thomas, quit trying to trade away all our draft picks. Well, listen, we have 8 of them. We're not going to get 8 star players out of the NFL draft. We're probably going to get 2 out of this draft class that will be starters for the next 5 or 6 years minimum. So, with that being said, I'm all for trading away for a good player. And we talked about wide receivers they could trade for the other day, a D.D. Westbrook, a Kenny Golladay, and Auden Tate. Those would all be good choices for a 4th or 5th round draft pick. I'd rather have them in the video we did a couple of days ago over a Brandin Cooks, but at least Peter King has mocked him or projected him to Philadelphia. That's all because we need a wide receiver right now, which I know we're going to address in the draft, but as I'll say it again, we really, really need to go ahead and get another wide receiver in terms of 2 wide receivers this offseason. That way you help out Carson Wentz overall. Final bit of news here, you probably saw it, Ronald Darby, our former cornerback, is no longer in Philadelphia, but he is remaining in the NFC East. Darby has signed with the Washington Redskins. It's a 1-year, $4 million contract, and of course the 26-year-old was a key part of the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl run in 2017, had the block that sprung Patrick Robinson for that pick 6 early on in the game against the Minnesota Vikings in Case Keenum, and then of course was the starter at cornerback in the Super Bowl. The problem is he's been injury prone the past couple of years, especially last year. He was out from week 3 to 8, came back last year after week 8, got obliterated by Devontae Parker in that awful Dolphin game. Remember that Dolphin game? You go down to Hard Rock and it's like, oh, we need a win. We're going to kill the Dolphins. It's going to be fine. And then we get abused. Devontae Parker had like 200 yards receiving that day. And then he got hurt again in week 15. He got abused the week before against the Giants. I think it was the Giants. He got obliterated by whatever rookie wide receiver the Giants had. Got injured and then was put on IR and then was done for the season. So you lose him. That loses a cornerback spot, which of course Darby was good at some point, but just can't stay healthy. I'm happy with this move. To me, this is overall a very good move for our Philadelphia Eagles, too injury prone. The question is going to be now, who is going to be the opposite cornerback of Darius Slay? There's reports saying that's going to be Avonte Maddox. It's Avonte Maddox's slot to lose. And Maddox, of course, was the hero really the latter part of the 2018 season whenever he made that deep run against the Bears and, of course, against the Saints as well. Maddox did a pretty good job on Michael Thomas against Drew Brees. So it looks like it'll be Slay, Thomas, McLeod, and then Mills will probably be the 2 safeties, and then the 2 cornerbacks, and then of course you're playing Sidney Jones maybe in the slot, maybe it's Crevon LeBlanc, maybe it's the new addition, maybe Will Parks can play a little bit of nickel, maybe I'm blanking on the guy they signed from the Rams. Roby Coleman, he could play the slot as well. So a lot of options there, but it looks like is going to go ahead and be an Avonte Maddox, unless Sidney Jones, who has been rumored to be working out with a good defensive back coach, he's gotten bigger, he's gotten better, unless he balls out in training camp, it's Avonte Maddox's game to, or spot to lose. So it'll be Slay and Maddox on the opposite side, but I'm all for Darby leaving for DC. What's your dream secondary lineup right now for Philadelphia? How would you line them up? I'd go McLeod. I would go Mills, because that's reportedly why we re-signed him to fill Malcolm Jenkins' slot. And then I would go Slay on the outside. I'd go Avonte Maddox as well, and then compete. However you want to go ahead and compete for the nickel slot, I'm fine with letting them figure that out. What's your dream lineup? Do you like that lineup? Give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a comment down below. I want to see what you guys think in terms of who should be starting in the secondary for our Philadelphia Eagles. There you go. That's the latest Eagle news happening right now. Shady apparently hinting he wants to go back to Philadelphia. Will he is a whole different question. Brandin Cooks, he wants out, and Peter King says he should go to Philadelphia. Will we give up a second-round draft pick to go ahead and get him? And finally, Ronald Darby. He's gone, but he's in our division. Is he going to get revenge on Carson Wentz and the Eagles? Probably not. The Redskins are going to be really bad next year, so I'm not too worried about him overall. Tomorrow, we got a brand new video coming out. It's going to be grading all of our off-season moves. I'm going to put my grade on every single one of them, so stay tuned for that. And later on in the week, we're going to do a live Q&A as well as a mock draft. We're going to do the full draft simulation of the Eagles 2020 NFL Draft, so stay tuned for that. Be sure to subscribe. We're already halfway to 7,000 subs here on the Eagles Report, fastest growing Eagles channel on YouTube. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you like the content, click the red subscribe button down below. All the time we have for today, the Eagles Report. I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Did you like that video? Thanks for watching, but why don't you click this video right here, because we did it just a couple of days ago, and guess what? It's about the Eagles too. Like that video? Why don't you subscribe right down here? That way you're notified whenever we release more videos here on the Eagles Report. It's the fastest growing Eagles channel here on YouTube. Video, subscribe, click them right now. Go ahead, click them.